What's going on? This is Richard from A Man About Style, and today we are going to break from our normal format and just have a open letter type forum. In this video, I'm just going to touch on my perspective on, the George Floyd murder, looting, white privilege, because I've been asked to share my perspective, and hopefully this can help you in starting a conversation in your families, your communities, and even at your job. Before I kind of get into it, it's important to understand my background as a foundation for my perspective. And if you don't know me, I am African born. I was raised in Kenya and adopted into a upper class white family. We then moved from Kenya to North Dakota, where I was the only black person in my county, including my family. I've had every form of education you can have, from homeschool to public school to private school. In my high school, I was one of 13 black people, and in my further education, I decided to study at an HBCU. In my career, I have worked for small and large corporations. So this kind of just gives you a foundation of what my purview is, since I've been in all of these environments and been exposed to people from all classes of life. Let's just start with, white privilege. And I'll give you what that looks like for me, on a daily, basis. And I've even benefited from, quote unquote, white privilege. So a couple weeks ago, I got a call from a family friend. This family friend is prominent in the community, and they are well connected, well respected, and they gave me a call wanting to refer me to work at a company. And they told me, this is a great opportunity. I told them about you. I hope you don't mind, but I also shared that you were raised in a white home but you were black, and they were really interested. Now, I know how that sounds. It was very, insensitive, but I knew from that person that they were just trying to do, the right thing, and they were looking out. But I know that they are also very prejudiced outside of me personally. And simple, in a very simplistic way, white privilege just boils down to the benefit of the doubt. Would I have gotten that opportunity if I didn't have white parents? Maybe, maybe not. And even if you take a step back, look at how protests in Michigan, where a large armed group of white men were treated, versus many of the Black Lives Matter protests that were peaceful, or at least started out peacefully. If you switch those two, if a group of armed black men surrounded the Capitol, in Michigan, I'm sure that it would have been portrayed and handled drastically different. And black people have gone under criticism just for protesting. And it's frustrating because no matter how we protest, whether we protest peacefully or not, it seems like we aren't heard. Just take a look at what happened to, Malcolm X or MLK. They both had the same demise. Even not going back that far, look at Colin Kaepernick. America is okay with political statements that they like, and the ones that they don't are unacceptable, i.e. playing the national anthem at any sporting event as a reminder, but kneeling for the anthem is unacceptable. Another thing that's come up in just conversations that people have asked me to weigh in on is, allyship. And my response would be, for my minorities who feel that their voices aren't being heard or their plight isn't being heard, know that rising tides raise all ships. By no means is Black Lives Matter, marginalizing any other group. We just know America as a system is broken. And so historically, Black people have been the minority that has been oppressed the most, and that has led to oppression of other marginalized groups. And of course, all lives matter, but I think the best way that all lives matter versus Black Lives Matter has been, explained is, what if you went to the doctor with a broken leg and he comes in and he starts checking every other bone in your body except for what's broken? And that's why, we have to address the actual problem. Like, you would get mad at the doctor if you went to him to fix your ankle, but he checked everywhere but your ankle. And so systematically, obviously, there are things that we need to change. Do I know how to change everything? By no means do I say I have the answers. But I do think that there is a prejudicial system, at times. And this is coming from a very, privileged person. And having these discussions with people, my peers from all walks of life, whether it's the 1% in America or or lower, there still seems to be a common thread that there are ceilings or issues that we have to deal with no matter what our economic status is. Also, just speaking to allyship, like, I've seen a lot of brands all of a sudden wanting to push the Black narrative when they don't even necessarily support Black imagery in their marketing or in their hiring and promoting into leadership roles. And so a lot of these are just empty gestures. In regards to police brutality, I think that it's actually transcended even Black Lives Matter, that we need to overhaul and reform how police operate in this country and law enforcement as a whole. After this news cycle is over and we move on to whatever the next thing is, you're still gonna have Black people in your community, in your lives, that you should want to relate to. And the best way is reach out to them via text, via call, and try to learn some of these underlying issues, just so you can be empathetic, understand a point of view and from history, because many African American professionals and people in your day-to-day feel aggravated or just tired, that they have to explain why you should treat us better, as a whole. Like, maybe not you personally, but as a whole, we feel like, why do we have to have that discussion? And we are held, to a higher standard in many of our jobs and careers because we feel the weight of having to represent for our people. I know, for me personally, I think about race every day, even if it's on a subconscious level, because I know the prejudices and biases, and I'm trying to offset those biases just so I can function in a world that I am not the majority. In short, hopefully this helps you in your relationships with, your families, your co-workers, and anybody else you come in contact with. I know I've had these discussions even with my own family, and we don't all agree from a point of view on, where we stand, but it has to start somewhere. Do I have all the answers? Not by any means, but I do think that it is worth discussing and highlighting, because it is a normal occurrence for someone in my position. So, with that, be well. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. I'll catch you in the next video.